Welcome back to Teachings and Tangents with Kathy Batista. I'm Kathy Batista, your host. So today we're going to talk about some mindset. And I often find that different mindset tools and techniques more often than not ruffle some feathers because they go against the grain of how we've normally or always thought or always behaved or how we've expected others to behave, right? So, what I'm going to question or ask you a question today to think about is think of a problem, issue, complaint, something that you're working on. Bring something to mind. And then once you have it, I want you to think about why it's still a problem, why it hasn't been solved, right? Most problems have a solution, and that's just the nature of the problems, right? So, this problem, this situation, I love to say matter. Like, don't you love that phrase? Like, what's the matter? Um, Like, what's the matter? I don't know. I love that. But most people think of it as a problem or an issue, right? So, why hasn't this problem that came to mind? And if you're anything like me, you probably had more than one problem pop up in your head when asked this question. So, why hasn't it been solved? What have you tried? What haven't you tried? What have you tried more than once? Why hasn't it been solved? I'm here to tell you that it hasn't been solved because you're solving the wrong problem. More often than not, what we think our problem is, what we think the issue is, what we think the matter is not really it. It often goes um, much deeper, not only deeper, most sideways, all over the place, right? It's never quite what we think it is. So that leads us to have to navigate the layers underneath these problems. And so, if we're looking at a problem to solve and it is continually a problem, whether that's a person, a place, or a thing, right? Whether it's this argument that you just keep having with somebody and you guys cannot solve this problem, or a feeling you have about somebody and you cannot rectify it or move past it or change it, you're addressing it, you're coming at it from a perfectly fine way to address your problems, right? All of your problem solving skills are great. The problem lies in solving that problem. You're solving for the wrong problem. So we have to dig deeper than what is right there. It's never what we think it is. And I'm studying A Course in Miracles. And in A Course in Miracles, very early on in the lessons, it is, I'm never really mad for the reasons that I think I'm mad about, right? And most of our problems in our lives come from a place of fear, of lack, of being mad, of frustration, right? Problems don't generally happen, or we don't really say, I have this problem, this person makes me so happy. Like, I have this problem, I really love the way that I look. I have this problem, like, yeah, food tastes good all time, and I never have a trouble with what to eat, right? We never have these problems unless it is upsetting us. And ultimately, that's our ego, right? Upsetting our ego. And all of the problems in our life, no matter what, the problem you thought of, the other problems you thought of, the actual issue underneath layers. I mean, sometimes it's right there under the surface, and other times we have to dig a little bit deeper down. Ultimately, we're getting to a fear. We're getting to this fear that I am either going to lose something or I'm not going to get something that I want. And oftentimes it puts us in this state of scarcity and threat and reliving traumas of past events where maybe that happened. Maybe you did not get what you wanted or what you thought you wanted, or you lost something that you held dear. So we constantly create problems based off of fear. So once we look for this solution to our fear, we often find the solution to that upper, higher level problem, right? So, did I ruffle any feathers here? Because really, like, that's generally, myself included, isn't really the answer that we want to hear, is that our problems lie with us and it's our fear. If I have a problem, then it's mine, right? And that means I have the solution too. The solution to most problems is finding a way to peace, a way to love. And when we're talking about having a problem with another person, sometimes it's not real easy to express love to people that we are having issues for, right? Um, this reminds me, here comes a tangent, people. This reminds me of like our loved ones. And I think it's really easy to tell loved ones that we love them because sometimes we really do. We just have this innate natural feeling of love for these people. And other times it's just what we've been taught. You love your family, you love your extended family. It just is, right? That whole, this is what we've been taught. I'm not saying I subscribe to that at all, but that's what we've been taught. So we just automatically say we love them, right? I mean, I love them, but, right? So it's real easy to say we love a family member, whether it's your children, your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your aunts, your uncles. It's real easy to say there's that family bond. I love them. What's often more challenging and actually really exciting is to find what you like about them, right? There's nothing more. So I have my boys, and there's nothing more exciting for me than when I realize there's things that I like about them. Like I like who they are. I would choose to spend time with them no matter what. I like who they are. And so that sometimes is such a key, is to find the like. What do you like? Because we're sometimes that forced feeling of love. We have to love them or we're supposed to love them, right? If we can find something that we like, some common ground, it tends to soften any feelings of dislike or unlovability that we have for these people. So, back to love, solving our problems. It's not really what we all want to hear, but it truly is the key to solving your problems, is finding, just like that story with my kids, finding that element of like sometimes brings me back to why I love them, right? Like it's not just a given. They're my kids. I love them. No, I love them because of these things that I like and these feelings. But I think maybe that example of parenting, I think that there is an element of there's just this instinctual pull that you just, I don't know. This might be another tangent for another day. Anyways, what I want to tell you today is all your problems stem from fear, something that you're afraid of, something that you're afraid of losing, something that you're afraid that you're never going to get. And the answer to that problem, the solution to all of your problems, is to find the element or elements of love within those problems, right? And that's not to say that if somebody does you wrong and you have to find a way to love them, it's, there is love in releasing the 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 hold on yourself. There's love in releasing self-love and releasing people and patterns that no longer serve you. That's where you're going to find the love for those tough things, right? And then other times you'll find those kernels of love to foster forgiveness. So, with your next problem, your next issue, your next matter at hand, and you feel unsettled about that one, get to the fear. What is it you're afraid of losing, or you're afraid you're never going to get? What is the fear? And then how can we bring and foster love in that situation? It's probably the hardest and simplest, if that makes sense, right? Just because something is easy doesn't mean it's hard. It's hard. That's that saying, right? Yeah, it's simple, but it's not easy. Thanks for hanging on with that one for me. But yes, it's simple, but it's not easy sometimes to do. So, this is where finding yourself a therapist, a counselor, a community of people to help you work through these points, these issues, right? It's always good to help ourselves by sharing and talking. And if it's not available to you, you can always journal. You can always find a way to get that out to then it's almost like reverse engineering, right? You have this problem, and let's reverse engineer it all the way back to the fear, the root cause of that problem, and then look at how we can rebuild the situation with love as the foundation. So, with that, I wish you nothing but love, and I will see you next time in Teachings and Tangents. And until then, find the love.